homestead, silly. We are out here in the garden cleaning up, just getting all the weeds out and the dead plants from the summer's garden. And Joe is helping me with his tractor. He's taking all of the dead stuff and weeds and taking it to our compost pile. I wanted to come out here with the camera because I found an extremely unwanted guest in our garden. Now, I have just found out about these things kind of at the end of the summer and was really hoping they weren't here, but figured they probably were. And sure enough, we have them. You honking your horn? And that is the dreaded, horrible, no good, very bad Asian jumping worms. Okay, so I know they've been around for a while, but it's the first one that I've seen or noticed out here. It is a variety of earthworm, which you might ask, well, hey, that's not a bad thing, right? Well, I'm going to show you what they look like, and we're going to talk about why they are a bad thing and why you should be killing them. Now, it's taken everything in me to kill these guys because you don't kill earthworms, but these guys are worth killing. So I'm going to show you what one looks like, and we're going to talk about how to identify them and why you need to be watching for them and getting rid of them. All right, so this little devil right here is what an Asian jumping worm looks like. The biggest variation in characteristics about them and earthworms, so just European earthworms, are the ring. Now, if you're, a little bit familiar with earthworms, you probably know they all have kind of that ring around them on one end. And it's kind of a beige color typically. The jumping worms have white. And if you can see this one, he does have dirt. I tried to clean him up a little bit, but it's much lighter in color. They also, the other characteristic, this guy's kind of worn out because he's been handled so much. Have to excuse my gardening fingernails there. But they don't like to be bothered with. So typically, like right when you pick them up, they twitch a lot. There he goes. Just like that. Earthworms that we're used to will not respond that way. Now, they're not aggressive to humans or anything. They are just another type of earthworm. But the other thing that to look for are, I'm going to see if I can get close enough, are the ridges that are on either end. They're a lot more ribbed, I guess you could say, than your typical earthworm, which allows them to just kind of dig through more. See, he's trying to dig into my hand. That kind of feels weird. But it allows them to move quicker through stuff. And these guys are composting machines. They are about as effective, from what I understand, if not more effective than red worms, which are your main composting worm. So why are these guys bad? I'm going to pass him off to my son. You want to hold him? Boop. Don't lose him. I don't want him in the garden. So they are bad because they are such rapid machines. They reproduce at a super high rate. So they basically outrun or outwork all of the other earthworms and stuff in the soil. And they can even run out a lot of the beneficial bacteria and everything else because they will deplete the soil of everything if they get out of control. Now, the population can grow fairly quick because they do reproduce fast. And when that happens, when it starts to outpace everything else in the soil, then they basically decimate the soil of everything. A bad infestation of them can clear a forest floor. So that's the other thing. It takes away all of the leaf litter, all of that kind of forest litter that is on the floor that helps to protect the dirt that covers the dirt and the earth. It will completely strip the forest floor of that and leave a forest floor bare. So that's a problem too, because then you don't have that covering. So you've got uncovered dirt, which essentially is dirt that begins to die. You also run into erosion problems when you have that. Another characteristic I didn't mention that is kind of my last test. I found the first one when I was pulling out these weeds, and I was like, oh man, it really does look like it. It's matching all the characteristics. I'm like, I'm going to put it to the test. So I threw it to the chickens. Chickens will not eat Asian jumping worms. I don't know why. I don't know if there's a chemical on them that just makes them unappetizing or what, but They immediately ran over when they saw that I threw a worm in. The first one pecked at it about twice and then left it. And the others kind of looked at it and walked away. They wanted nothing to do with it. There's no predator for these guys at all. These guys will live in that very top level of the soil. So like in the leaf litter, typically you'll find them right there on the surface, up there where the red worms are gonna be. Earthworms are just below the surface in those first few inches, so they do venture down there as well. But they do not go as deep as like the night crawlers and stuff like that. They go way down in the dirt. But again, they affect them all because they are consuming at a much higher rate than the food for all of them, faster than any of the others can get it. So, not a welcome garden, friend. Not excited about finding this guy, but as I find them, I'm just gonna kill them. No, I don't expect to eradicate them completely, but hey, if I can wipe some out and that's that much less that's reproducing for next year, then I'll do it. Anything that I can. Yeah, benefit is they produce good soil. The drawback is in doing so, they can run out all of your other beneficials. One last fun fact, if you didn't know this, every single earthworm variety is an invasive species to America. Who knew, right? That's why they're called European earthworms. Before they came over here, there were no earthworms in America. I guess our soil relied on everything else that breaks it down. Maybe that's why we have cockroaches. Maybe that's the answer, because they will also decompose dying leaves and stuff. But anyway, I'll leave that for you to ponder. In the meantime, have a great week. Thanks for joining me, and be blessed.